Hello. One of these days you'll see this finished. Actually, it'll be on the last programme. Here we are. Now, we're going to deal with the Christmas pud because, of course, it's one of the focal points. But I want you to revive the round Christmas pud. You know how gorgeous it used to look on Christmas cards? Old-fashioned ones, they're great big round Christmas pud with a bit of holly in the middle. But, of course, in the days when we did it in this country, it was done in the old copper. I mean, you boiled the clothes all the week, and on Christmas Day you boiled the pudding. But there isn't any copper, so I've done a sort of Emmett Heath Robinson invention of my own, which anybody can copy. You take an ordinary sieve, it can be a large, small, or medium, whichever you like, and you simply bend the handle upwards, and it goes, because, I mean, we've been doing it for quite a long time. And then you stand it on something in a tall enough saucepan to take that height of handle. I'm using my sterilizer, but it's not necessary, as long as it just clears the lid, you see? Now, I've used a base of a sliding base cake tin, sliding base out. I fit that in there, and then I call for help, and here comes Sarah, and I fit turkey with aluminium foil inside the basin, so I can reach, and then wax papers inside that. And I said wax papers, and I've got to contradict myself, which I hate doing. They're ordinary oil bits of greaseproof, and I'm stupid. There. Now, this mixture, of course, like everything else, is in the booklet. You'll hear all about that at the end of the programme, but it's that gorgeous one that I found in the vaults of Escoffier's some years ago, and you've all gone so mad about it that I can never be allowed to produce any other recipe for Christmas pud anymore. It's all right, I scrubbed my hands before I started, but you can't cook without using your hands. Now, you see, you get enough in there to make the ball shape. And I think we're about there, don't you, Sarah? Just one more dollop, like that. This Christmas pudding mixture, thank you, my love, when you make it, is very loose with the ale and the various other things that you add in the way of liquid and the eggs, of course. But you are asked in the recipe, of course, to leave it overnight. And it has a very, very high preponderance of breadcrumbs, and therefore is a much more easily digestible Christmas pudding. And it's very light. But you'll be able to see the finished one, so you'll know with absolute confidence that it's rich and dark and yummy. Now, the bottom half, of course, is going to be perfect. The top half isn't, but as you switch that over at half-time and steam for the second half-time, the other way round, you see, simply take it out. I can do it for you if you like. You see, take it, there's the perfect half. And then you make that one perfect by banging it in the other way. You can do it from the start or you can do it later, whichever you like. Now, Sarah will take that and we shall steam it later. But she's coming over here with me for the one that is ready as it would be on Christmas Day. That is to say, it's had 10 hours steaming. It's all right, Sarah, I can manage. 10 hours steaming, standing on another cake ring here. Then it's been left for several days to make my point. And then steam for 4 hours as you will steam it on the day. Now you start to unwrap. So, we lose all that little lot, and here comes the pudding. There are the butter papers that I put on the other one. I see there's one there that's come off some butter, so we don't want you to see any labels. That would be a shame and a disgrace. I pull the dish towards me, fold this well down here. Oh, it's hot. And it's over. And none of that business of prodding it out of a pudding basin. And look at the colour of it. And look at the richness. Ooh. And if there's a little bit of cheat in the kitchen and you've got clean hands, you're not absolutely satisfied with the shape, we'll do a bit of that. Now, the holly. This is in an old spud, because I found out that if you shove a piece, you see it somewhere, you're out for a drive or something, and you don't have a garden, and you see a lovely piece in somebody's, your side of the hedge, or by the side of the road, take it home, shove it in a spud, and it will last for up to 3 weeks, and you know it's probably going to be another wildly expensive item this Christmas. Now, may I repeat, in case I haven't made my point strongly enough, everything that I've spoken of, every single thing, is written down for you in the booklet. The times of the steaming, every single ingredient, how you make it in an ordinary pudding basin, and how you do it this way. I want to introduce you to my brandy butter. This is an ordinary little glass coupe that I've got to use for grapefruit or something like that. This is brandy butter coloured pale green, the recipe's in the booklet, studded with little tiny economical scraps of angelica, glassy cherries, little bits of nut, and it's got a cellophane bow there. Now, when you make it, you can get this right out of the way, again, 3 weeks before Christmas. Because you then take another piece, which I couldn't put on or you wouldn't have seen the brandy butter at all, tent it over and pull it in by the bow, and then put it in your fridge. Put it on the table, tented, and then just cut through and open it out so it looks rather like a flower when you present it on Christmas night. And it looks lovely, and it tastes gorgeous. It's my favourite recipe. Everything's my favourite this year because I feel that if they've been a success and they've been my friends and family's favourites, they'll be all right with you. And therefore, high on my priorities is my mum's trifle. When we put this trifle on a Christmas buffet, it doesn't matter whether we've got 80 people and dozens of puddings, it's always the first to vanish. And that's my Swiss roll recipe in the booklet and apricot puree before it's rolled up. Now, when you've done that, you moisten it. I think this business of sherry is horrid in trifle. I'm sorry if I offend you, but it's a personal thing. Of course, you can use it instead with this if you want to. So I've used a light mixture of fresh orange juice and sweet, inexpensive sweet white wine, the one called Sauterne, spelt with an S always. And you moisten until you've got enough moisture over there. And how you tell is to take a spatula and press. And if you feel any dry bits, there are 1 or 2 there, you add a little more of each. Do you see? The Sauterne this time from the bottle, and the orange juice with my favourite kind of lemon squeezer. I think these are far better than anything that ever existed. So you just push it in and squeeze. And it's gorgeous. Right. Now, the next thing to come is softened chocolate chips. In the meantime, I'll put the apricot puree over the top. You just spread that over. And now that the sponges are nice and squudgy, you make a sort of dog's dinner of it at this stage. Push that all over. And if you don't begin to feel hungry while I'm making this, I shall have failed myself, won't I? There we go. Now we've got all the lovely things in there. Now, here comes the chocolate. Now, may I have, please, a serious word about this? If you put the chocolate chips in a saucepan and melt them down over a little hot water, they will be perfect, but they will not be perfect unless you add something which we call in the kitchen, professionals, stock sugar syrup, so that you get it of the creamy consistency of thick cream. And first, when it's softened, you beat it. You know what I said to you last time about thinking of somebody you don't like and taking it out on the sauce. Well, you give it a really good sloshing, and then you beat a little jar of this stock sugar syrup on, which is a very nice thing to have on your shelves because there are hundreds of different uses for it, and that's all chatted about in the booklet. It's really more of a small book than a booklet this year, because I've been allowed to put such a lot in for you. And then level that off. But that never sets hard, like those awful profiterole when you get hard chocolate and it cracks over your teeth. And then over the top goes another classic recipe which is in the booklet, confectioner's custard. I want you to look at that because you can see I've put some cream into it, which is still a little lumpy. And so before I use it, I beat half the quantity of either whipping or double cream because it's a question of money again, which we're all thinking of all the time. And you make the choice because they both whip beautifully. And that goes right over the top and locks that in. No wonder Mum invented a good trifle. There we go. I've touched that bowl with the chocolate, haven't I? So don't write and tell me, because I've seen it. There we go. Now we level that off very evenly and neatly. Doesn't matter if a few streaks of chocolate come through, one little bit. You'll see what's going to happen next. Get it all out. I can't bear it when I get a cue to hurry up on television and I have to leave mixture in the bowl. And sometimes you write me cross letters about it, and it's only because somebody's waggling their hands, which you can't see, saying, get over there and do the rest of it. There, now that's not wasteful. Nice clean bowl. Clean up the edge where I've made splashes. And take it over here. Now, Sarah's going to bring me my cream. This custard, you must remember, is of course cold. Thank you, my darling. But it's the confectioner's custard that you can again make, cover either with a sheet of wetted greaseproof paper or with a tablespoon, hot tablespoon, run over butter, and then run it over the top. And you can keep it waiting for up to 3 weeks in mild domestic refrigeration. That was a bit of a wiggle, wasn't it? I wasn't thinking about what I was doing. Now, you pipe your cream all the way over, and then you use some, Mummy used them originally, and this was how I knew about it, chocolate leaves. We'll come to that presently. When you're using these icing bags, if you remember to twist them before you start work, you will never run the risk of having the cream ooze out of the bag. Now, I'm being naughty here and unorthodox because I like to do it with one hand. But if I were doing it the professional way, I would do it like this. Using the pressure here with the finger and then pulling it out. So you paid your money and you take your choice. You do it whichever way makes it easiest for you and looks best when you've done it. You must have a nice big swirl in the center, and you must have rosettes all the way around the edge. They're frightfully important because they're going to hold the chocolate leaves in position when we come to them. But the great thing to remember is that what I want you to watch is what I'm doing and what you have got with absolute confidence to fall back on is every single thing written down in the booklet. The exact information, and like the turkey, which had all its times, and all the other birds, so on this, you've got all the little details that iron out the creases for you. Because what I've tried to do is to draw on all the queries that I've had in past years and then incorporate them in the answers so that none of you were foxed. Now, these chocolate leaves. Some of you will remember them because you loved them when I first introduced you to them. Have a look at that one. You can see that the veins and all the serrated edges are identically produced. And all you have to do is to pick a few rose leaves in the garden, which in an English garden you can get right up till Christmas, and then just wipe them in case there's been a passing critical bird or green fly in the garden, you know. But don't do any more. Don't oil them or anything like that. And then soften chocolate chips. And when they're soft and beaten, the same as I've been explaining to you exactly for the sauce that's under there, the next thing you do is take a leaf, rose leaf, not a whole stem of them, but just one single leaf with a tiny little bit. You can see the tiny little bit on that one if you look closely. And then tow it over the surface of the chocolate. And that way, when you lay it down on a baking sheet, never put them near the refrigerator or they'll all turn grey and be simply horrible. Now, don't say I haven't warned you. Never near the refrigerator. Let them dry at room temperature. And then take the back of the leaf and just peel it off, and lo and behold, there's all the veinings. And don't tell that woman next door, and then you've got a bit of one-upmanship to boast about, which she doesn't know anything about. She's always satisfied. And now then for the cherries. I was very lucky, considering how short things are now. I was able to find red glassy cherries, which are going on both sides. So I'll do those. And Vera, would you like to come and do this with me? Because they'll drop off with boredom if we don't get them on a little quicker than I'm doing on my own. I'll take the beige ones, you take the green ones. And now the beige ones down there, on both sides, that's right. Got the green ones, back up, that's right. And then my hand this side of yours. Poor darling, she's so nervous on television, her hands are shaky. I only shake for the first half minute. There we are. That's right, and then one little lot there. So, and we've done it and completed Mum's trifle, which I hope very much will vanish first on your buffet, the same as it's done on Mum's, on mine, and now on Sarah's as well, and many other girls that have worked with her.